Визуальная.
Содержание, в общем, нам не интересно. Ее нужно слушать, а не смотреть. Очень забавное явление.
Stands for Eyes of the Alone but Powerful Dragoness, translated for Dragonic to the English language. Can't be sure about other places. Thought I'd just go ahead and do one of these and see how you guys like it and whatnot. So yeah, we'll just go from there and see what we got. This is a little bit of another teaser, 3 little section teaser on season 4, installment 11. So it's like the prequel to the season finale, the thing to end all things. So hopefully you guys like it, and we'll see where we go from there. Corn thought this attacking group was alone. Turns out he was wrong. A silky smooth, calm, collected voice was well low volume, so just complete power sent tingles on his tail. Only one voice spoke that way. "You may not like me right now," it said. "I can teach you many things, Sabrina. If you aim me now, you won't get the information you seek. I can teach you the true qualities of a ruler. Take me. I'm one myself. Was. A few false idols stand in my way, you're getting it. Wanna help you." "Lies. Falsitivities. You breathe, you lie. You cannot change your way." Corn was bedded at his side as he tried to get to the owner of the voice, knowing who he targeted. "Then let's try this another way." Voice strangely knowing. In the next few moments, he'd lose 1/3 of his number, possibly all of them. He burst to the last line of disinterested followers going after him, opened his maw, discharged fireballs as readily as he could. Laws were all suddenly coming, cunning snake that he was. Maneuvered himself out of the way and placed himself so the last struck his spiky chest head-on as if in a show of power. "Comboing!" heard the sub-leader in a voice suggesting a long-lost friend, without breaking his stride of charisma. "Fancy seeing you again! But is that how we say hello?" Sabrina the Morpher took advantage of what she thought was a lapse of concentration, moving in to fling her darts. Aridae lashed out the air with his tail dangling her, smirking snout and Corin. "Silence? Shame. Might have at least expected you to caterpillar in somewhere. No fun suspicious? No retaliation to stop me." Corin's expression was disgust and flat. "No, we're way past that. You and I both know you placed yourself here on purpose. It was no accident of yours, you just suddenly pop up this battle unannounced. There's a reason you're here, deeper than I actually care to find out. Just like there's a reason for everything you do. You slither and plot and spy in the shadows where no dragon can see, or find. You only serve us when you want to be found. You think you're so grand, but what you don't realize is there's always more freedom fighters out there, ready to put a stop to your plans. The moon can't hinder us." Aridae smiled wider. "See? Speech. I love those. They're so effortless and thought out when coming from dragons in positions of power. Oh, hush here." Her hero saw the half-charged fireballs and sprinted the Morpheus' very snout. "But you do not have the entire picture. I was cast out, in exile." Corin held up a paw. "Save the talk. We both know the longer you pour in your sentiment, the more you slip in your power. Before long, what you have is a puppet." His eyes slid to the monster's nightmare and floppy behind the sub-leader. Aridae knew for sure that if he put speed into every muscle of every body, he could be over there in seconds. Even for the supposedly agilest Night Fury. He could use his barbed tail to cut Corn into so many pieces, he'd not dare disrespect him, his grand multi-tiered plan, or the goblet of Yin. Rethink all that the stubborn little wretch, drawing allies to him like a magnet, made knew a rage beneath the calm outward facade, magically to see the vast consuming rage to anyone who disrespected his vision of the future. He could take Corn apart, but he didn't. Patience was a much better virtue here, as it should be to all followers once he got him back and retaught him it. "We've grown since then. I don't care about it. I only cared about the fact you're freed. This attack was your doing." His mask slipped, more and more often these days, and Aridae didn't like it. Was he getting past his prime? Or replaced by Antonisrus and old? That can't be. He had a lot to accomplish before he kicked her out and claimed leadership for all to see. His smile turned insidious. "You should, seeing as I'm not here for them, or with them. Oh yes, you should care very much about that. You constantly underestimate yourself, Miss Ruler. When will you learn?" "I will not become your messenger dragon you control." "We'll see, my old friend. We'll see about that." Then turned to deal with Sabrina the Morpher. "You may not like the alternative, or have any choice in the matter once your body is mine." However, it appeared that sub-leader had problems of his own. They may be in the same linkage to the night sky, the moon peeking out over the tip of the eruptive volcano. But that hindered them none swooping in to attack. He had expected the young ambitious Nesruler to take the bait and get a snout full of bloody spiky tail. Instead, these followers, no doubt mistaking him for the enemy, though his loyalties didn't lie with them, much to their impending shock. In a quick swapping of targets, Aridae slashed 2 shriek-inducing lashes deep into the stomach of the first sphere follower, the second out of spite. He didn't care if they belonged to Corn or Antonisrus. If hers, all the better. She hurt his tail like that, and killing Perseverin, no great loss. He'd break something of hers. He'd have the mind to do so to this obsidian rock he still clenched. Probably insurance against that mockery leader. You want to live longer? Stay far away from me! The second took a more cautious approach into battle, seeing the vermilion leech from his partner's wounds. We know what you are. Leader what you did, and it's no painful one, and whatever can you crowd out of. How sweet that she cares when awful the way I die, he laughed, swinging his tail at him. But here's a revelation. I don't care. She's not going to be around much longer. Count on it. I'm nothing if not cunning, smart, and persistent in my goals for a better world. More than any knife here dreams of. And I will be leader. The appendage sailed harmlessly short of the followers just now. But Heredity was already flapping down, rolled, delivered a devastatingly claw-piercing to its throat, a precise vulnerable point. Then, saying that too, gasped, and gasped again, her vermilion leeching from the entry rune. He managed to avoid the next, fending off blows from Copperwing. He noted with fascination his wounded quarry seeming to shy away a retaliating turn. Afraid, his partner under his mind control suggested to engage the other injured follower. At his call, Sluther flew over obediently. She sure caught my sight, as the first follower turned to it doubtfully, as it blew back Copperwing with a wish of his wings. Ross whispered something in her ear, her showing him an ironic, doubtful look until he sent her away. All they needed now was time, given how close their battle to Sluther's position and the previously analyzed gullibility of the enemy. Not long. The smile was back. Yes, not long at all. This one's kind of like moderately, mediumly long, so hopefully you guys can endure it and see it for what it is. So, hopefully I'll get to it. It's still Season 4, Installment 2. And if you guys are really into HTTYD and dragons and all that stuff, then this really is kind of like your cup of tea or cup of whatever, and yeah. So, this is another little teaser to see if you guys are, you know, like really interested in reading it or whatnot. That's kind of all really up to you. And here I go. So, we'll go ahead and do this. Regroup and reform and attack anew in the name of a leader, came the call from Corgan. Ross let go of the follower he'd been fighting, snorting, in the name of our leader. Sounded like a bunch of carefree dragons back in the nest gathering together for a game of hide-and-go battle. They thought they stood against him? Why not Sinistris could barely do so. Laughable at worst, pitiable at best. Because of him, they lost 2 of the number to report back to her, if they reported back at all. His sneaking into the scuffle here near the volcano and spotting deadly nanners, even odds and corners of the side, triumphant again. Like a slide managed to claw to barely. Heredity knew Corinth's destination. He wasn't here to hinder it, rather accelerate it. Once Sluther did her job, the fiery monsters of Burning Inferno sweep down upon this little skirmish and eliminate them all. He's still taking pleasure in the ironic fact, once again, fate somehow delivered practically all his enemies, past and present here, Deathbringer, Lost Narna, Copperwing, and of course the other unknown dragon is still under his distant power, as far as he knew. All about to be burned from the face of the land, no longer a problem for the subleader. Those pathetic fools. Did they learn nothing? The God Petitioner was more than patient. This battle meant less than nothing to it. If it bestowed leader, it could easily be listed. It hungered for hosts. Heredity intended to plan and place his pawns accordingly in a striking fashion. He made the squawking words either so meaninglessly toss each other, proclaiming they went into a jumble, and it was 2 of his greatest enemies at making his dream reality. 3 if he counted Lavine. Though, she wasn't really a leader and dead to him in just a few days. Not weeks. All hinging on that other scheme, so she didn't count. The initial replay and that pathetic passionateness of the Corrin, determined than ever to bring the Breeders of Darkness down. Correction, Lavine's his followers. Ross had no qualms of participating in her little militant clan. Corrin came winging his way, wearing one of those patty, upset expressions Heredity found immensely amusing. A sharp tad less moodily emotional than Lost Narnis's, still entertaining. Unlike most leaders, he enjoyed the encounters with the enemy, sought them out even. Not to study them like stuffy Lavine do, but witness shaves of sweet defiance like this. You know, a friend who tastes my passions, I do take note. In a dramatic dance of the fates, thus far, I've yet to see that brown-scaled boy well short of. Has my mood been too much to bear? He asked Mog sympathetically. Looking at him, he added, Or you did contain her loss? Corrin gritted his teeth and hovered as close as he dared to the subleader, aware of his weapon's tail barbs. Smart, thought Ross. No wonder Sinistris viewed him as threatening to her rule. What did you do to Obakov? Those nightmares flew in there. They flew in there and I haven't a chance to return. Heredity inclined his head, the zipping, roaring dragons around them. This, perhaps. Exhausting, isn't it? Ruthless led and bold leaders gotten hasn't she, in exterminating your movement? Something wicked twinkle in his eyes. She's trying very hard, I'll give her that. He had a bit of seduction to his voice, beginning the slow transition.
What if I told you I don't like her either? Make you feel at ease. I'm good at that. I have problems. You have problems. Mine is named Levine. I can help you get rid of her.
Corin's pause dropped, her expression taking on the glassy-eyed nature of what so many victims were. Lazarus wetted his tail slowly, unobtrusively, to lash at the precise angle, slipping in more suggestion, bloodlust pulsing heavily with righteous lust. He'd been looking forward to this too much since he last lost hold on such a ripe prize when he was younger. If it still has his way, Nona, Abydos, and Obakov, the original intellect behind the rebellious opposition crumbled. The blind restored to followers under Eurydice' younger self, and Korn, his right-clawed dragon, doing everything he told him to do. Unfortunately, fate hadn't smiled upon him back then, as it usually didn't, frustrating his efforts with the untimely aid of lost Snarna locking Korn up. Some things appeared mightier than even the God Protector. His plans this time, more complex, ensured this time he became even mightier than Krakahan, his speech legendary, and his command and loyalty was breeders of darkness stronger, and erased that wave of fear he controlled them by benevolence and enlightenment of every dragon. Yes, I do hate her. She's been a threat long enough. When I gather my future army of like-minded creatures has been put through so much pain because of the moon, she'll regret the pain she caused my friends. The sub-leader's voice dropped to a rich, silky purring he often used.
Yes, she will. I'll help you with that. Count me as your friend.
They didn't see Torres' snout witness the goings-on. The strained stillness of his hover. The realization something was unsettlingly amiss. He failed noticing her rapid dart over to Sabrina the Morpher, spin her around, and point.
I'll make sure she never troubles herself again. Ow!
A faint zzz and a sharp piercing pain caused Renedy to raise his paw. A designated spine was lodged halfway in his forearm. 4 more thudded up at his side, under the wing drawing vermilion. He cursed viciously and withdrew, yanking out the spines as he ran. Torrid rushed over, breaking the beginnings of Gnosis. Copper, son, are you alright? Like the protective Torrid, she had been forgetful. The last follower to be freed from Lost Narna's fallback parent, Nona. She touched Corrin's snout, body, and tail, wondering what happened, until he brushed her away, saying he was just fine. An hysterical bout of laughter resonated behind him. Torrid flapped above the height of Corrin, wingtips almost brushing his upward arc. Both aligned with Lazarus circling them at a lower height due to his facetious giggling, bordering crazed.
You must be joking, dragon. Yeah, a mother! A mother! Everyone by now, including the large Delta spotting outside H-to-own, our relationship was thin abyss, going by the name of his title, La Nezre, now with his father, the large, oh so of as clot I can that whisper for Krakahan. Silvering the Fairy. I served that big mouse of our big muscle. Glad to be rid of him when La Danny took over as leader, a tad more acceptable for that role. But a mother! I wondered, the legendary son of Silverwing. If I, as a follower, doing my part for the master, discovered you live, they not hesitated to welcome you online in perspective. It's a shame fate strung me out this long to see you two together.
Karn's eyes traced Serenity's circling flight path, searching for perception in his eyes. But the lack of it, and the lack of quirk to his lips seemed genuine, in a twisted sort of way, which was worse. Could be surely another of the snake's slippery tricks. Torrid spoke his mind. You will not harm my son. Lazarus tried his bleeding paw again, snorting in their laugh.
Yes, I see that. I applaud you for your impeccable time intervening. But I wouldn't dream of it. A mother should not be separated like that, when I can destroy both at once instead.
He turned tail suddenly and attempted to flee, just saw the replay collected from above. Lazarus referred the chilling cry and thousands of long red throats of a horde in the march. The monstrous nightmares, reunited its excellence, scattered their redemption with Corrin's furies who had been about to obliterate, had arrived. At his head, flying faster than their carefree speed, was Sluther. You and your lousy see-through plans? What do you do this time? Denix's paranoid voice was overheard somewhere in the background, as the fighting forces gradually ceased. Beholding this new threat, Copwing wasn't so sure.
Oh, for dragon's sake, here we go. Must we always do the same dance, Lost Nana, you and I?
Sluther barreled to the beings in her way, eyes stalked seeking her master. As I told them what I was instructed, and they didn't take it as well. They think I lie. Korn was moving, and powered by forced hopes, ignoring Torrid's cry to come back or Dragon's equal cry for different reasons. They must still be calm, not enraged. If they come to do what they once did, then they were doomed. Fortunately, when he flew out ahead of the battle, the monster's nightmares horde halted themselves as well. Their shade of crimson to burnished breast blooded up the sky, just a mass of thwacking wings starting the air. They roared, loud enough to make the hackles rise and become unlit. All better read today. relaxed and smiling facetiously in the grip of Dennis Replay, who got a good grip on his tail with the back claws, and his scrawny throat with the front. The roaring stopped. Silence. The director in front looked Corin over. What's the meaning of this? Why was we called? What is so important? We were called away from our heated place. We listened to ourselves, but this is unnecessary labor. In the dark of night. Why? As shifting our bodies in the flapping flock and another nightmare pushed her way through. Corin was not to distinguish individual pointed snouts. Wait, this one I remembers. Do you remember me? I was one of many to pursue across the waves. Angry. Suddenly I realized burning your kind was not right to come to ask forgiveness. A beast came out of the waves and... Corin interrupted, the young director nodding, saying that she still had his acceptance. She nodded in turn. Just like that, confusion's unintention dissipated. The other director's gaze slid to Sluther, seeking her out suspiciously. And this, she is the most listened to of us. Valued. What is the reason for calling us here? Then he readied her voice, Heredity squirming futile in grip, or maybe he only seemed to. The sudden command of, Retreat! Divide and conquer in the name of our leader, another Eve! Called Corrigan, angling his wings. Before anyone could stop them, the remaining 10 shot off as fast as their wings carried them, west to Lavine's commandeered nest. Torrid, Dragon, Dennis Replay, Heredity, Sabrina the Morpher, and her escort Netter's face in nightmares, with Sluther flapping uncertainty apart. Her time had come. Yes, about that. This has to do with the troublesome brat right here. He probably did something to her. This slime uses voice at her. It's time to undo that. The director looked at Corin, quizzically as if expecting to clarify. He did, telling him about the first leaders' notoriety and the trouble and the lives he took presently. The director's gaze slid back to Sluther. I see. Is there anything we can do to cure? Denix. You cannot, no, but he can. Her voice lowered threateningly. Paranoid to no end, is subtly to retain that infuriating expression. Stop smiling, it isn't funny. You took over a dragon's free will, apparently wielding great influence. The dragon that I had to fight because of you. Well, guess what? I survived, your plan failed, and now undo what you did. You can rescind it. Something clicked in Dragon's eye, allowing to hover beside Denix, not sure what to do. So too did Torrid. 3 dragons in one place had at one time or another made obedient to him.
What makes you think this collapsed in failure?
Mused Lazarus, wings beating hard. In a show of non-traditional Denix behavior, she shrieked, shaking Heredity fiercely and letting go of his tail with her hind paw to pierce his anatomy. Fix her! Now! We're tired of being on the ruining lives of innocent creatures for the moon's the soul-sucking will and furthermore ours! Heredity's eyes flicked the remaining forces, and settled on Denix. He appeared in slump and defeat, sagging slightly in her grip, making her wings work harder.
Very well, so it will be, Lost Nana. Remove suggestions.
Torrid shook her head, looking as if woken up from a dream. The god protectress is making her servant didn't raise Heredity's powers on her, just added too, as did Dragon. Sluther the profoundest effect, opening her wings to the fullest extent, letting herself temporarily aflame, roaring at top decibel. That's when Heredity made his move. Sure, if he couldn't do anything else, he could at least strike down another. His tail whipped free of her weakened grasp, arcing over and around like Sabrina the Morphos's. Denix's cry came, feeling a barb sink deep into her back, beginning the wing to the back of her head. He withdrew it, repeating the process several times, choosing to relish the moment later. Vermilion splattered his tail and her back. He shoved her away back again, this time in her neck.
Oh, that's better. Today's not the day, but it's coming, and soon. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have plans to form, a leadership to reclaim, and one of Nightfary's revenge to plot. He yanked his wings, having filed information earlier, and shut off west. Waves echoing distantly. So much to do in so little time. Isn't this exciting, my friends? You must have been so bored over the last seance since I was leader. Cora rushed over to clutch her paw, although far too small to hold her full-grown weight. The dragon swooped under her, grinning slightly as Corin let go, seeing his efforts. Dennis Replay simply hung limp and cautious. Corin arranged her body as it hindered, not dragging its massive wingspan, tail flopping over his side. We need to get her help. Fast. We need to land. Sabrina the Morpher suggested they take her to her territory. Corin shut down the idea immediately. Unexpected help came from the director herself once again, seeing the whole thing. Snot described almost as sympathetic. Come, we can help. It's the least we could do for forgiveness, said the young female director's nightmare, detaching herself from the flock, flying over Dragon to inspect Denix, Dragon bearing her weight, feeling queasy proximity. She is bad. Come back with us to the mountain. It's the heat helper. Follow us? Prison company accepted, of course.